Catering giant Compass Group, not included in next round of school lunch scheme. All right, picture this. You're a multinational catering giant worth billions. You got contracts everywhere, hospitals, prisons, schools. And somehow, you still can't make a lunch the kids actually want to eat? Hello, welcome to NZ Political Insights. If you're just watching now, please hit the subscribe button to keep you in touch with our daily new updates. Welcome to the Compass Group saga, folks. Grab your Marmite sandwich and an apple because, according to our PM, that's apparently the backup plan. What's up, Aora? Welcome back to NZ Political Insights, where we turn political chaos into content you can actually understand. Today, we're diving into the absolute drama that is the Ka-Ora-Ka-Ako school lunch program. Spoiler alert, Compass Group, the catering giant that dominated this year's contracts, just got benched for the next round. So what happened? How did we get here, and why should you care? Let's break it down. First things first, the breaking news that's got everyone talking. Associate Education Minister David Seymour just announced that Compass Group will not be one of the suppliers delivering lunches to 188 primary schools under the next phase of Ka-Ora-Ka-Ako. This kicks in Term 1, 2026. Instead, we're going regional. 10 local suppliers have won contracts, names like Cafe Mahia, Pita Pit, Subway, and the University of Canterbury Student Association. Yes, UCSA is now officially in the school lunch game. Who saw that coming? Seymour says Cafe Mahia has a proven track record. They've delivered lunches to isolated schools even during floods and road closures. His words, they have the know-how to deal with the unique asks of the region. The weighted average cost per lunch? $3.46, with suppliers charging between $3 and $5 per meal. Seymour reckons this will save $145 million in 2026. But here's the spicy part. This wasn't exactly a voluntary exit for Compass. This comes after what can only be described as 2025's most disastrous catering performance. But wait, how did Compass get here in the first place? Let's rewind. And then Term 1, 2025 happened. Schools reported late deliveries, missing meals, food arriving cold. And the quality? Let me quote one principal who said the meatballs were shocking. Another said the food looked like somebody chewed and spat it back into the container. Appetizing, right? We had 11 consecutive days of butter chicken at some schools. Halal meals that weren't actually halal certified, just halal friendly, whatever that means. And in one delightful incident, students were served Mrs. Max pies because the actual lunch didn't show up. Nearly a third of schools receiving these lunches contacted the ministry with complaints. Ministry nutritionists estimated that half the meals delivered in Auckland were left unopened. Half! And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, March 2025, Labelle Group, responsible for 125,000 meals daily, goes into liquidation. Boom! Just like that. This was a family business that had been in school catering for 20 years, and they owed $14.3 million to 248 creditors when they collapsed. Small businesses got blindsided. One Hamilton company was owed $15,000, and they said it would take $100,000 in revenue just to recover. Now here's the kicker. Documents showed that both Labelle and Compass had flagged early in the procurement process that the government's $3 price cap would be a stretch. They said so themselves. When the collapse happened, Seymour called it a commercial matter between two companies. Compass swooped in to buy Labelle's operations and kept the program running. But the damage was done. The Auditor General has since launched an inquiry into the whole program, looking at the planning, procurement, and contract implementation. Because when one of your three main contractors goes bust mid-contract, questions get asked. So where does this leave us now? Here's the current picture. The government is now pivoting hard back to regional suppliers.
For primary schools, it's 10 local providers starting Term 1, 2026. No compass in sight. Seymour says regional suppliers can better meet the unique needs of schools, especially small, remote communities. But here's what hasn't changed. Compass is still leading the school lunch collective for intermediate and secondary schools under the current model. That's still roughly 43% of schools in the program. So while Compass is out of the primary school round, they're not completely gone. They're still serving the older kids, for now. The real question is whether this regional model can deliver where the centralized model failed. Local providers have smaller operations, but potentially more accountability. They're embedded in communities. They can't just disappear into corporate headquarters when principals start emailing complaints. All right, let's wrap this up with the big picture. Here's why you should care even if you don't have kids in these schools.
Kia ora. Kiako feeds over 244,000 students across more than 1,000 schools. For many of these kids, it's the most reliable meal of the day. Research shows the program reduces hunger, improves nutrition, and boosts mental health outcomes by 6 to 14% compared to peers. When we talk about slashing costs, we're talking about real impacts on real children. The nutrition standards exist for a reason. Studies found the school lunch collective's meals provided only about half the energy expected for a school lunch. This isn't about politics. It's about whether we think our kids deserve a proper meal while they're trying to learn. The Compass Saga is a case study in what happens when cost-cutting meets complex service delivery. Sometimes the cheapest option isn't the best option. So there you have it. Compass Group out of the primary school lunch game. Regional suppliers stepping up, and a whole lot of questions still unanswered about what happens next. What do you think? Is the regional model the right call? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you learned something today, smash that like button and subscribe to NZ Political Insights for more breakdowns of what's actually happening